I'm serious about like talking to the camera because I just feel like it, you know. I don't know if I'm ever gonna post this. Oh my goodness gracious. She is so back, baby. I'm getting emotional already. I've not been this excited about something for so long. Hi, welcome. My name's Brittany and this is my first video back on YouTube after 10 years. So this video is about listening to your calling and hearing when it's there and knowing and feeling and responding to that calling. When you hear it ringing, you better pick up, because it took me a whole 10 years to be back looking at the same camera I was looking at 10 years ago, knowing damn well that this was my calling, that this is what I was supposed to do. So today I'm going to talk about what happened to me 10 years ago when I gave up my calling. So the clip you just saw is of me probably like 10-ish years ago, and that video never ended up being edited by me or posted by me because I was in high school. I started my YouTube channel I think when I was around 13 or something, because that was my favorite thing to do. I loved watching YouTube. I loved watching Bethany Moda, RCL Beauty. I loved watching all the American girly pops doing their YouTube, and I was like, that's what I want to do. I was watching it all the time, and I asked my parents promptly for my birthday, I want a camera with the flip up screen. I want a vlogging camera so that I can become a YouTuber. And so I started making videos. I started copy pasting Bethany Moda. Not the best, obviously. Like I was 13, 15 years old and I was just copy pasting what I saw, but it made me happy. I had the most fun just going out filming. I had this friend that helped me film all the time and I filmed by myself. I just had such a great time doing that. That was until people of my school found my YouTube channel. That's obviously when the bullying began, because God forbid someone has fun on the internet. It was a thing. Like, I already didn't fit in, really. I never felt included or accepted. No hard feelings to the girly pops that were leaving mean comments under my videos. You know, little things like that really got me down because I am a very sensitive girl. I'm now in the process of getting diagnosed with autism. Not sure if I'm gonna get that diagnosis, but there's definitely something different with my brain and with my heart. So for me, that was like the end of the world. Back then, I was so young and so vulnerable and wanted to fit in so badly that I decided, okay, I have to make a choice. This wasn't a conscious thing, but I slowly but surely stopped making videos because I felt upset. Eventually, when I persisted into, I think when I was 17, we went on a school trip and some other people were also vlogging, so I felt a little bit better because they were doing the same thing as I did. So I didn't feel so alone anymore. But for me, the damage had already been done. I started feeling less and less happy doing it. Just didn't feel good anymore. So I quit it. I posted here and there like once a year, once every 6 months, because something in me was still calling for it. But I grew up a bit, got into parties in boys and all of that distracting stuff. Doing stuff like this that make my heart really happy stopped being on the foreground. It wasn't until I started living on my own and I had to bust my ass to make a living for myself, I was guided back to making videos. I worked as a freelancer making content for different companies for about 2 years until I couldn't do it anymore. That was this March. So this March I had, I think, reached the lowest of low points I've ever reached in my life. I've had different types of depressive episodes before, but this was a new low. It really was, I have to quit everything or it's going to be the end of me. So the choice was kind of forced upon me. I had to quit something that I had worked for so hard to have that job and build something for myself. However, it wasn't sustainable for me because I wasn't in the right place anymore. I wasn't happy making the stuff that I was making anymore. And the more I got into the content creating world for businesses, again, lesser and lesser, I started liking it. Because I was dealing with people and structures and other things didn't fit with me as a person. The more and more I did it, the more and more clients I got, I noticed all of these things that just didn't fit with me. I didn't want to give up on it because I really liked doing what I was doing. Someone recently told me, and I believe this wholeheartedly, you have 3 brains. You have the one in here, the one in here, and the one in here. And these 2 is what you should be listening to all the time. So my gut was already telling me, my heart was already telling me that I was not on the right path for me. But do we listen? Us humans, we listen so much to this brain. This brain in here, in your little head as well, that brain is for human functioning. These 2 is what you should be listening to when making your choices. So right now, I am learning to do that again, listening to these 2 instead of this one. The past few days, I've been so stuck in my own head. I just had some meditations. I finally quieted it down a little bit. But this thing up here can make you feel so confused about what you want, what you should be doing. But all you have to do is shift your energy down. I was ignoring these 2 brains and saying to these 2 brains, but this is the job of your dreams. You've built it all from the ground up. You love it so much. Nothing is wrong. Why would you quit? Why would you stop when this is what you wanted? This is what you asked the universe for, but it wasn't what I'm meant for. I'm meant for this. And I figured that out in March to tell all of my clients I have to quit immediately. I'm so sorry. I have an issue here that is bigger than I can take on, and there's no other choice for me than to do this. I'd called with my doctor, I'd called with my mother. The choice was made. I had to quit because of how badly I was doing, and that broke my heart because I had worked so hard for something that I wanted so badly, and I was making this money and it was so great, but it wasn't. I was not being seen or respected at my one job, and I was not getting fulfillment out of my other. It was just not the right fit. So clearly I was not listening to what my body was already telling me. It was not working. If you do not listen to your calling, to your body, to your heart and your gut, you will get the loudest wake-up call of your life. So to prevent you all from going to that place, I don't wish it upon anybody. So here's my advice: to not have to deal with the loudest, most gut-wrenching wake-up call of your life, and instead listening to the call when it's on mute even. The thing with your calling is it never leaves. It always stays by you. And I've noticed that over the past 10 years, I always came back to making videos. I always came back to that being my hobby. When I was 13, when I was 17, when I was 21, I always came back to this in all different ways, shapes, and forms. And for me, it took some months to have it take shape into this. So to don't be like me and ignore the call. If you feel lost, if you feel like you're not in the right place, if you don't know what you want to be doing, I would sit in silence with myself, which is a hard thing to do for some of us. It took me a while to get there right now. And I still often have background noise on just for a moment. It doesn't have to be long, maybe 5 minutes. Don't do it from here. You're gonna pull the energy, everything down to here and here. So you're not gonna focus on your head or on your brain, and you're not gonna assume, you're not gonna feel it in yourself, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna ask yourself with the intention of wanting to find your calling, what am I doing when I feel the most alive? What pulls me every time and it doesn't even make sense? Like, it could be a hobby, it could be a sport, it could be anything. For example, I know of a lot of spinning instructors because I used to work with a lot of them, and they have often explained to me that when they were in class, they were so drawn to it that made them realize, oh, I should be an instructor. They didn't understand why. Like, the first time they did it, they didn't even want to do the class. They didn't understand why they came back the second time, but they kept coming back. That is what you need to find. Something that keeps drawing you in. You don't understand it, but it keeps drawing you in. And if you don't have that yet, that's fine too. It will come. The call will come. Maybe it doesn't come in 5 minutes. Maybe it doesn't come in an hour, in a day, in a week. But you've asked. Whether you have it now, you realize it now, or not. It will come at its own time, at your pace. You filled in your information to get a call back. And from that, just practice being here instead of here. Because the more energy and time you spend here, the louder this will become. The universe is always cooking up stuff for us, and we ask for something, we shall receive it, but at its own time and its own pace. We don't have to do anything else. Girl, that's hard. I know, like I've been struggling the past week now or so with just letting go of something I really want, and it's hard. It is really, really hard. But I'll make a whole other video on that, about letting go and, you know, that whole process that I've been doing right now. I just hope with my story and the little tips that I've learned that you don't have to go through those big crashes that I've been through, and you don't have to do all of these things and learn the hard way, because that's what I'm here for. I have learned plenty of things the hard way. I'm still learning things the hard way, but I'd like to share it with you so you don't have to. And you might still, because that's life. We have a life contract, and sometimes we put in our life contract that we have to and want to go through things. But that is a whole other story. I'm gonna be back here every week from now on, which is so exciting and so scary, but it's a new chapter. It's for me, it's my own, and I could not be more excited to be there for you and with you, and to just grow and heal together, because I'm definitely not fully healed. I've been working on myself for 21 years now, ever since I was 4 years old, with my mom in her practice, and I've worked so hard to get to this point where I am very excited to be able to help other people instead of just myself, because it's been a lot. And I want to share it with someone because it gets a little lonely. You can find me on TikTok as well. I post parts of my journey there so we can all cry together. And I'll see you in the next one.